Wagwan, everybody. Welcome to our next episode of Talk the Things podcast. I've been on a little break and I'm coming back with this episode. Even though I had other episodes planned, there's two breaking episodes that I want to talk about, and this is the first one. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, but I want to talk about a person that went by the name of Marlon Wilson, aka DJ Fyah. Now, this is a DJ, a popular DJ from Toronto. He's from Jamaica, but he's based in Toronto, and he's very popular out here in Toronto and in Jamaica too, in the dancehall scene. So, people like my mom and others who are involved in dancehall were really close, or not, if not really close, knew who this man was. Explaining him a little bit from what we have. For what people know him as is that he was always a happy person. But when you hear more of the story, even right up to the end of this episode, you're gonna hear how he was always in good moods, but how he was not really in a good mood, and it's going to make more sense as we get down into the podcast. But a lot of people also said that he was a womanizer. Allegedly, he had a lot of girlfriends, a lot of women he was always with, always with, bare woman. And I want you guys to remember that, because once again, it will make more sense as we get down into the episode. And for those who don't know this person or who isn't in the Toronto dancehall scene, when you hear this episode and you hear how we go along through it, you're gonna see why I say to remember those two things. So on February, we don't know exactly what day, but in February of 2024, a girl that he was talking to must have went into his bag and found some HIV pills. And I don't know if she took a picture or how it went, but she ended up exposing him and say, for him having HIV. So it looks like he was diagnosed with HIV. He had medication for it, but not much people know, or anybody at all other than him knows how long he had HIV. But what people did bring up was that he had a baby mom that died in Jamaica from HIV. So, when she went, the girlfriend or whoever it was that he was talking to at the time went into the bag and found HIV medication and exposed him. It caused a big uproar on the internet now in Toronto, in the Toronto dancehall scene, because people are saying that this man was here spreading HIV. This was all over Toronto. I want to play you guys a video. And this is from last year to show you guys how long this has been going on. And I'm gonna come back. So you guys watch this video quick.
Boy, a lot of drama going on in Toronto right now. It is crazy. Specifically, the whole drama in regards to dancehall and HIV. So, let's just talk about it. Number one, there's two types of HIV. There's HIV 1 and there's HIV 2. HIV 2 is more prevalent in West Africa and also in some of the Caribbean countries. HIV 2 has a lower viral load overall, and therefore the transmission levels are a little bit less compared to HIV 2. HIV 2 is what you're more commonly going to see, which is in Canada, the US, Europe, all around the world. When it comes to HIV 1, it has a higher transmit compared to HIV 2. Regardless, when it comes to HIV, there are so many misconceptions and there is a lot of stigma related to it. So, number one, you can never tell if somebody has HIV by just looking at them. That is impossible. Currently, in the whole dancehall and dancehall scene, there's about there being a higher incidence currently. So in that regard, I think it's important that people just remain educated and get tested when you need to get tested. There is no way of really knowing you have HIV unless you get tested. Let's talk about HIV symptoms. A lot of HIV symptoms are very comparable to flu-like symptoms. So you can easily be diagnosed with flu or influenza or COVID when you really have HIV. The only way of knowing for sure is by getting tested. Another way of knowing if you have HIV is developing opportunistic illnesses. That just basically means you're starting to come down with illnesses that are not common for a healthy individual. Because what HIV does is basically destroy your immunity, destroy your T cells. So in regards to this whole rant, I really just want to encourage people to know their status, get tested. Let's not spread positive HIV statuses. And let's focus on encouraging people to just get tested, spread knowledge, spread education, and be supportive, protect your sexual health.
All right, so you guys just seen that video, and like I said, man, it was a big thing. I remember hearing people all over talk about it, how people are spreading, or this person is spreading HIV around dancehall or around Toronto, allegedly. But the reason why they were saying that is because they didn't know how long he had it, and like I said earlier in the podcast, that people had him off as a womanizer, that he was always with a whole bunch of different girls, that he loved women. So you could imagine hearing a person like that now who was diagnosed with whatever, never told nobody that he, you know what I mean, but people found out that he had that. So that's where I think that a lot of the problem came and where a lot of the backlash came. So he must have been feeling some type of way about it. And in March of 2024, he wound up getting baptized. That was the next video that I remember seeing when it happened. And he, he was jumping around the church, he was happy and all those stuff. I want to play you guys that video just so you guys can kind of see his energy and see, more while going with the case. So I'm gonna play you guys the video of him getting baptized and we'll be right back.
When people turn their back on you, listen, for anybody here where no plan to make this move with me and make right now, nobody like that because street time I try to kill himself from December to January. 3 times. And God let me powerless. In Jesus Christ, me and me just know say, this is my mom. I'm sorry that I don't know if I will be a perfect man tomorrow. But by the help of God, step by step,
Come on now. Come on,
I thank each and every person that motivate me and tell me say God is God, and God is love, and who God bless no man.
All right, so you guys just seen that video. Now he looked happy in the church, jumping around and stuff. Like I said, a lot of people said he was always happy, right? Now, when you see that he's acting like this, from the outside he looks fine, but I happen to think that on the inside, he was really suffering, because a lot of people were starting now in dance, or from what I've heard, were starting to shun him. Like if he went out to certain dance and stuff, people wouldn't want them to touch the mic that they're using, or people would, like they would bully him. They wouldn't want him to come around. They wouldn't want him to like to touch them and certain stuff like that because of the diagnosis. And Jamaican people, even though they say now you can live with AIDS or HIV, excuse me, they say you can live with it and you can be healthy. A lot of people are still stigmatized to that because they grew up in the 90s and them time when AIDS was something that wasn't, you don't, that's gross, you know what I mean? So a lot of people had him off as that same type of way, and it must have been getting to his head. It wouldn't feel nice if you know that you have this sickness and now you got exposed. You didn't even tell nobody, but you got exposed, and everybody has you off as, you know what I mean. I feel like it was messing with him mentally. I don't feel like he was as happy as he was portraying to be. Fast forward up to this year, February 14, 2025, there was a party that was kept at JCA, Jamaica Association, a place in the West there. There was a party that was kept there, and he went to that party. And from what I've heard, that even in the party, people were making fun of him. People were saying that, they're just bullying him, calling him AIDSy boy, and saying that he chats too much and all these type of stuff. We don't really know what the issue was, with whoever it was that he was, got into that verbal altercation with. But people heard them calling him those names. Remember the day? This is February 14. This is Valentine's Day, just Friday. At the time of recording this was last week Friday. And what he wound up doing 2 days later on February 16, I believe, 2025, he unalived himself. He we can't say the word on YouTube, but he offed himself. And we don't even know how it is for real how he offed himself. I've seen a lot of people say that he shot himself, and then I see a next group of people saying that he stabbed himself. Whichever way this was, we know for sure he unalived himself. But this is why I say that I don't feel like he was as happy as people always say they seen him. I even seen a person on TikTok say, "I saw you Friday and you were so happy." Must have been at the same dance on the 14th at JCA. And that don't mean a lot of people who off themselves are happy up until the day that they do it. They'll be smiling on camera, all this stuff, but you never know what people are really thinking on the inside of their head and how they're feeling. A lot of people turn their back on him. A lot of people, he felt like a lot of people were turning their back on him. He felt like a lot of people were dissing him. Like I said, they shunned him. They didn't want him to use their DJ equipment. They wouldn't want him to come too close to some people. Some people wouldn't want them to come up to them. Like how people are like squirmish, and you know what I mean? So he must have been feeling some type of way. And exactly 1 year, we don't know if he found out in February 2024, but we found out in February 2024. And by February 2025, the man offed himself just after getting baptized. I even heard when he got baptized, see, he got baptized Wednesday. By Friday, people seen him out in the clubs, and he was saying that the clubs is his church. That's what he believes is his church. So we don't know, like, in people's mind, especially when, like, I don't know, bro. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about this situation down below, and we will talk next time on Talk the Things podcast.
I'm a pretty little Barbie. Got the body of a goddess.